sometimes the world can be so brutal, so utterly focused on ignoring its people that individuals may feel like they don't even exist. Realities can sometimes be so harsh that justice and self-sacrifice start to overlap, creating a community that is forged via blood and sense of survival. Good evening everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerd Pain Rant, series in which I try to make a creative living out of my 2 degrees in criminology. Today we are going to talk about a show which society is sometimes depicted as so dedicated to its own progress to forget about its people, transforming its inhabitants into walking ghosts. Compelling and convoluted. Today we're talking, of course, about hunterxhunter. But before we continue, please, for me, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, hunterxhunter holds a very special place in my heart, and I realized that while I was making this video. First and foremost, its 2011 adaptation was the first anime that I ever watched subbed, opening to me the door for the fantastic world of anime's original version. The second aspect is the fact that hunterxhunter was the first anime to ever make me feel a profound sense of unease and discomfort. And I'm talking about a scene in which we can see Pito performing a brain surgery over Pockle, a scene that was so intense and graphic that still gave me creeps. And the third element why I love hunterxhunter so much is that it's set in Italy. Ish. Throughout the show, we can see countless references to my own country. For example, Gon's hometown, White Highland, is based on Isola Gallinara from Alassio, one of the greatest arcs in hunterxhunter, Heaven's Arena. It's set in my hometown, Milano, as we can tell by the fact that when we witness Sadaso leaving the arena, we can see in the background Galleria Vittorio Emanuele, renowned for its shopping and closeness to the Rome Cathedral. There are also countless of references of Italy throughout the show. For example, York New City, it's a combination of both Florence and Rome, which I think is a very cool homage to my country, which, let's be honest, nowadays it's the only good thing my country can offer. But what is hunterxhunter about? And this section is very important to me because I tried so many times to pitch this anime to my girlfriend, and the fact that I was always failing to explain to her what a hunter properly is was a huge red flag for her to actually start. I will try my best because I really want people to enjoy hunterxhunter. Written and illustrated by Yoshiro Togashi since 1998, hunterxhunter follows the story of Gon Fricks, a 12 years old raised by his aunt on White Highland while believing that his parents are both dead. Then, after encountering the charismatic Kite, he learns that not only his father is alive, but he is one of the best hunters in the world, member of an exclusive organization full of extremely talented individuals, licensed to pursue different careers, ranging from treasure hunting to rare beast researches. The encounter with Kite sparks in Gon the idea of wanting to find his father, so he leaves the protecting nest to White Highland to take the hunter examination, hoping to become a fully licensed hunter and finally meet and confront his dad. I really hope I sell the opera well, because I failed so many times, but it's so good. So if you stuck with me for 11-12 episodes at this point, it's been almost 3 months, please trust me and give hunterxhunter a chance if you haven't. How to approach hunterxhunter from a criminological perspective. You see, the way in which the story and the world building has been created, it's absolutely incredible. Throughout the show, we can see and witness different levels of societal structure, from the newly born rural republic of NGL to the incredibly rooted infrastructure of York New City. hunterxhunter offers to the general public an immersive and diverse world. Among all the elements that characterize such a world building, none caught my attention as the hometown of one of the most terrifying group in anime history, the Fountain Troop, all originating from the same location, Meteor City. A massive junkyard dumpster for different countries, the inhabitants of Meteor City do not exist on any official record, making this urban organization the holy grail for any student of criminology, since it allows us to explore the rooted connection between urbanization and crime rates. Meteor City offers the perfect case study to apply two of my favorite theories, the social ecology and the social disorganization. The social ecology theory is based around the concept that crime and deviance is caused and created and influenced by the moving of people from a place to another. And for this theory, the main case study was the city of Chicago, interested in a massive growth of population between the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th, moving from around 4,000 inhabitants up to 1 million in the span of 10 years and up to 2 million in the span of 20. And because of that, Chicago became the case study for the early root Institute of Cultural Criminology to understand the interconnection between society and crime, because it was the first time that the critical analysis of crime moved from a more positivistic concept of crime as an internal factor to a perspective that sees crime as a product of society. But how and why does overpopulation cause the increase of crime rates? There are countless of approaches that are originated from the findings and the results that have been observed on the case study of Chicago. One of the most important was the one offered by Rodney Stark. He observed that the sudden increase in population tends to create overcrowded neighbors. And due to the fact that in Chicago most of the moving was made for a job-related reason, most of the time there were people that were immigrating from other countries. Throughout, the lack of a proper and structured socialization led to the build-up of a lot of tension and conflict among individuals. But connected to the concept that ties in crime for socialization and urbanization is a theory known as social disorganization. This approach is based on the concept of the fading of sense of community. In those areas in which society basically abandoned people and refused to operate a proper process of socialization, people start to grow disattached to the concept of society. Disiluded and treated as criminal, these individuals tend to create their own system of value, trying to create a parallel society that would provide them support and help. That's why, according to said approach, gangs are created, because criminal gangs offer that kind of structure and the kind of support that the real society is not giving to people in need, becoming a perfect substitution for a failing community. How do we apply said principle to the case study that is offered to hunterxhunter, specifically to the case study of Meteor City? Not much is actually known about the real origin of the city, but there are rumors in the hunterxhunter lore. Meteor City was born as a plan of expansion of an unnamed kingdom, then later was abandoned to become a junkyard and then a dumpster for different countries. It is also said that Meteor City represents the most diverse place in the hunterxhunter world, due to the fact that the residents of Meteor City do not appear on any given registry. For the longest time, Meteor City had a business relationship with the mafia community, a syndicate of organized crime that operates and runs wild in the hunterxhunter world, to an extent in which the mafia community was providing funds and economical support to the government of Meteor City in the exchange of the possibility of using its inhabitants as disposable workforce. The most interesting aspect of Meteor City as an urban environment lies in the way in which said environment was growing, because there was no actually a structured urban plan, but due to the fact that it was using as a dumping ground for different countries, it was characterized by a structural lack of resources. But because people choose, once had nowhere left to go, to move to Meteor City, the fact that they were able to survive in such a harsh environment generates a sort of sense of pride, bond, and unity that was usually described by the inhabitant as a bond that was thinner than water yet thicker than blood. The inhabitants of Meteor City may not be related by blood or by societal structure, but they share a strong bond that is built and forged by the daily adversity they face. But as we see, the case study of Meteor City allows us to draw a strong parallelism between the city developed by Togashi and the real-life Chicago. The first being the urban expansion. As Chicago faced an increase of crime rates due to the abrupt increase of population, the fact that Meteor City became the perfect ground for crime to proliferate is heavily associated to the process of urbanization. As the rumor from the hunterxhunter world says, Meteor City is origin from the abandonment of an expansion project, and that reflects a lot how proper urbanization works. Projects are created, funds are invested, structures are semi-constructed, and then the site is abandoned. That tends to create, even in our real-life cities, specific areas of the town that people tend to avoid due to the lack of structure, due to the lack of natural surveillance, and due to the bad name said places have. It is in said places that we can find that crime actually thrives and proliferates. The second aspect is the description of Meteor City as one of the most, if not the most, diverse place in the world. We saw that throughout the lens of the perspective offered us by Rodney Stark, how diverse culture, when abruptly put together without a proper process of socialization, tend to create tension within the community itself. Tension that tends to exacerbate, specifically if we are talking about lower class population, increasing the crime rates in said specific area of the city. People from all around the world in hunterxhunter converge to Meteor City, but said diversity will create an increased tension due to both lack of resources and lack of proper socialization. That allows us then to draw the same parallelism that we had before. Meteor City is a perfect reflection section of Chicago, in which the abrupt increase of population, the lack of resources, and the lack of social structure will inevitably cause a rise of crime rates. And said aspect fits perfectly with the final element I want to apply, being the social disorganization. Not only the inhabitants of Meteor City do not abide to the general norm and law, but they are not even registered as people. They have been dumped as trash and treated as not even human beings by the dominant society. This structural labeling, combined with, as we said, lack of socialization, lack of surveillance, and lack of resources, will lead the inhabitants of Meteor City to abandon every form of societal norm. Moreover, the lack of adherence to what is considered normal and proper in terms of social structure allows them to converge to a single idea. The only way they can have to survive is to stick together and to resolve to a life of crime. The creation of crime gangs and syndicates and the interaction with the mafia is not simply the result of a choice made out of inherent deviance. It is a necessary choice. Where society failed the inhabitants of Meteor City, they find in crime syndicates, and criminal organization a way to sustain themselves. They find a perfect alternative to a failing society. In said situation, the adherence to a criminal path became the backbone of the newborn society. In a system that not only defies the societal norm, but then encourages and enforces being a criminal, the lack of control and the failed socialization allows the inhabitants of Meteor City to freely choose a life of crime, allowing delinquency not only to flourish, but to become the new norm. And now you have it. You know a little bit more about criminology than 10 minutes ago. And next time you are strolling around the city and you want to impress your friends, you can say, did it ever occur to you that criminality can be influenced by the level of urbanization? But what do you think? Do you think these theories apply well to the case study of hunterxhunter and specifically to Meteor City, or other approaches could have been applied? Please let me know in the comments down below. And what else? Oh, yes. So if you enjoyed this episode, what we have been doing so far for the past 3 months now, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and leave the notification bell, and don't forget to follow me on the other pages if you want to hear me ranting daily on Instagram and TikTok and maybe Spotify. So up until next time, I hope you enjoyed this part and have a nice rest of the evening.